I don't know if you could tell by the grin on my face. I'm happy. Why am I happy? Because I have a new favorite movie. I just watched my favorite movie for the first time, which doesn't completely make sense, but it is now my new favorite movie. Nobody 2. It exploded my expectations out of the water. I'm going to be honest, and I'm just going to tell you straight here. When I was going into Nobody 2, I did not think it would be better than the first one because I've mentioned it on the channel before. For some of you who may know, Nobody was my favourite movie for a long, long time since it came out, back in 2021. I saw it, it was my favourite movie. I just got back from seeing the second one, and it is my new favourite movie, which is just crazy to me. I feel like the action was better in Nobody 2. And I also feel like there was more action in Nobody 2. Just the way it was all done, and I preferred the story to Nobody 2. Nobody 1 is my second favourite movie. You know, it's only bumped down a spot, so it's still an incredible movie. But I just felt like Nobody 2 was better. So, in Nobody 1, the story is this guy, Hutch Mansell, who's just trying to live a normal life. He's got a classic 9 to 5 job, boring life. And then he gets tied back into his old life, which in the first movie we didn't really know what it was, but it pretty much just involves fighting. That's pretty much his entire job, and killing people. And then the second movie opens up the same way, where it's him, he's just living his life normally, but rather than a normal 9 to 5 job, this is now his job. He's gone back to his old ways. At the kind of end of the last movie, he burned a building down and he burned up a bunch of money, and he's basically fighting all these people when he gets told to, so he can make money, so he can pay off the debt for everything that he burned down in the first movie. And while he's fighting some guys, he kills one, and he kind of moves them out of the way, and behind him there's like this sticker advertising this kind of like water park holiday vacation place that Hutch had been to when he was younger. And he decides that him and his family should take a break, take a holiday, go to this place, which is what the second movie is about. It's them going on holiday. And then it turns out the whole place that they're staying at is run by some evil masterminds, and it's got shady cops and shady workers and all that. And it's pretty much just, it's a real place where people go and enjoy their stay, but it's run by evil people. And Hutch is put a task on himself. He's not being told to do this one. He has tasked himself to put an end to it, to stop this place, because it's his childhood place. He went here when he was a kid. He really enjoyed it. He wanted to take his family there, make some memories, is what's said throughout the show. Whenever people say like, oh, who sent you here, he just says, I'm just here to make some family memories. So that's what the second movie's about, and it's so good. It's like everything, down to the lines, to the music. The soundtracks in these movies are great, especially in Nobody 1. Like, pretty much all the songs in Nobody 1 are on my playlist, and I heard them from Nobody. And I'm going to add some more from Nobody 2, because some of the songs in there were great as well. But yeah, it was all just so perfect. So pretty much I'll explain more about the movie and why I liked it now. So they get to the holiday place, and the first place they kind of go to after sorting their rooms out and that is an arcade. Well, they initially try and go to a water park, which is closed. So then they get a ticket for free hot dogs, or like a discount on hot dogs or something like that. So they go get hot dogs, and there's someone called Abel there who is like a sheriff. Well, he says he's a sheriff, but I guess he kind of is a sheriff. He's technically a sheriff, but he's a bad guy behind the scenes as well. So anyway, he's an arsehole. Like, Hutch is like staring into space, having a memory of when he was a kid, and then it turns out the whole time he's been staring at Abel, this sheriff. And the sheriff gets all up in his face. Oh, why are you staring? It's not nice to stare at law enforcement, kind of thing. So anyway, he's an arsehole pretty much. They eat their hot dogs, and then they go to an arcade. And while they're in the arcade, Hutch's son gets into a fight with a bully, because the bully thought Hutch's son was flirting with his girlfriend, even though all he did was give her tickets that he didn't want. So they get in a fight. Then Hutch comes down, and they have an altercation with him and one of the workers. And then on the way out, one of the workers smacks Hutch's daughter in the back of the head. And this just kind of flicks Hutch from family man trying to make memories to guy who wants to beat the piss out of everyone. So he walks his family out, and he pretends that he left his phone. That's the excuse he uses. Oh, I left my phone back inside. When in actual fact, and his wife knew it because his wife tried to run after him. But in actual fact, he just wanted to go back there and beat the hell out of the guys. So that's kind of the first real fight scene we get to see in the movie. There was one before it where they're like in an elevator, but it was really short. He just like shot a couple guys and hit one with a phone and that sort of thing. So, but this is the proper real fight. So he goes in, and he punches the first guy, and then he smacks the other guy's hair, throws the other guy into a like claw machine kind of thing, and then he rips the claw off and hits another guy with it, and then he goes over to what's that like whacking game, mole whacker, whatever you call it, and he's hitting a guy with that. First fight scene, and it was more of a funny one than a serious one, but it was still a good fight scene. Anyway, after that, he gets taken into the police station where we meet, what's his name? What's this guy's character's name? Jesus Christ, it doesn't say it. Anyway, let's just call him owner. He pretty much owns the town. It's his town. He's the head sheriff, head of the police department. I can't find his name. I forgot what his name is in the movie. I can't find it online, but we'll just call him owner. So the owner of the place is like, oh, that was my son. So the boy Hutch's son got in a fight with the bully is the owner's son. So the owner's like, oh, that was my son. Usually we give tourists another chance, blah, blah, blah. And then Hutch, they talk it out, and eventually Hutch just gets sent away. And Hutch is pretty much just told, listen, leave this place, don't come back, and you're fine. But Hutch doesn't. He knows there's some shady business going on, so he doesn't want to leave. So what ends up happening is Abel, the sheriff, who obviously works for the owner of the town, he doesn't want Hutch to leave either. So he pretty much tells someone who works for him, another kind of sheriff police officer, listen, get the guys and go and get this guy. So then we cut to Hutch kind of shimmying his family onto this duck boat, where it's literally just a boat with like a duck head on top. It's just a normal boat. So shuffles them onto there, and then his wife turns around and he's like, oh, you're not coming? And he's like, oh no, I ate too much oysters or whatever it was he said. I'll meet you back at the hotel or something. So they go off. Next minute, that police officer, not Abel, is like Robin if he was Batman, and a bunch of these big kind of biker looking guys come over. Hutch gets on a boat by himself knowing that they're going to follow him, so they do. Then they have the second fight scene of this movie on the boat, on the duck boat, which it reminded me of the bus fight scene from the first movie, which is one of the best fight scenes to this day. The bus fight scene was better than this one in my opinion. There was just something about the bus scene, it was so good from the first movie. But anyway, this is kind of the bus fight of the second movie, and it is good, don't get me wrong, very good fight scene. So they get into it all. Hutch is throwing punches, they're throwing punches. Hutch is swinging off bars, kicking people. They're trying to stab him. They're whacking him with metal poles and that. He put a duck head over a guy and started punching the duck head. Anyway, he gets the end of his finger cut off, which it doesn't mean anything. It's just that's kind of the bad injury he got in the movie. He got the tip of his pinky cut off. Anyway, he beats the hell out of all these guys, and then he goes on his way. He meets his family back at the place, whatever. All's well. And then the guy who got the piss beat out of him phones Abel, the sheriff, and he's like, oh my god, we couldn't do it, the guy beat us up, he's not just a family man, he's a lunatic, he's crazy or whatever. So then Abel goes to the owner, and Abel's like, listen, we can't just let this guy go scot-free, he's beat up all our guys, he's wrecked the place, we need to do something about this. But the owner's like, no, I don't care what you say, leave him, blah blah blah, whatever. Anyway, then we are introduced to a character called Lendina, is how you pronounce her name. Lendina, I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce her name. And she is like a really crazy, evil woman. Like the first scene we see of her, she's like dealing a guy, he's playing blackjack I think, and after he loses, she just stabs him in the hand, and then slits another guy's throat, and then stabs him in the eye. It's like the craziest shit. Turns out the guy had like an earbud in, so she screams into the earbud so she can find all the other people who have an earbud in it, because they all go, ah, and then they all get killed. And then on her way out, one of the guy who works for her is like, so what do you want to do about the witnesses? And she says, just kill them all. We don't want to let them out. Just kill them all. And then she just kills a bunch of innocent people. So she's like the evil person of this movie. She doesn't get a whole lot of screen time. She's just kind of the background evil character, but she's the main villain in this movie. Turns out Abel works for her as well as the owner, and he pretty much is telling her, listen, this guy, he pretty much tells her what he told the owner. There's this guy, referring to Hutch, he's wrecked our arcade by beating guys up. He's beat a bunch of my guys up. We need to do something about this. And Lendina is like, oh, well, ask the owner. And then he explains how the owner doesn't want anything to do with him. And then she calls the owner, and the owner had some sort of debt to pay off with her, and he's like, no, I don't work with you anymore. I already paid off your debt. We're done. And then she's like, no, the debt is never paid in my opinion. And then she tells Abel to take something that important from the owner to kind of use as a threat against him. So Abel decides to take his son, who's the bully who fought Hutch's son, in the arcade. So he kidnaps him and he ties him up. Next minute, Hutch is snuck into their kind of hideout, and he's gonna burn the money and all the thing. They're selling some sort, I don't know if it's drugs or some sort of chemical or what, but that's what they're selling. That's how they're getting all their money. That's why they're this shady place. So Hutch walks in and he's got the lighter, holding it over the, or no, that's not, sorry, he's pouring gasoline all over the money and all over the, let's call it the substance, right? It's in these big jars, big barrels, sorry. And then he lights a lighter, and Abel's like, "Whoa, what are you doing? What are you doing?" And he's like, "I want to get out of here. I want to get off free with my family. I want us to enjoy a vacation, and I want this to be done. I want to de-escalate the situation." And Abel just pretty much ends up agreeing to it. He's like, "Okay, get out of here. We'll just, all's well as ends well. We'll put it in the past. Forget it." And on Hutch's way out, the owner's son then bursts out the van. He's like all tied up and he's got tape over his mouth, and he's like, because he got tape over his mouth, but he's like, help me, help me. So Hutch walks out and he drives off in his car, and then he immediately comes reversing back and breaks into the, or doesn't break into the place, but busts into the place. We don't see it. The scene is shot outside of the kind of hideout building, but you can hear gunshots and punches being thrown and all that. Next minute, we're in the building. Hutch has beat everyone up. He's untying the boy. He takes the boy back to his own family, and he has this little confrontation with his wife, and she's like, "You promised me we'd be here for a holiday and a vacation and we were going to relax." And then she pretty much ends up just saying something along the lines of, "Just finish this," or something like that, pretty much telling him, "Listen, get out of here, go and beat up whoever you need to beat up or kill whoever you need to kill so we can just go home and live." Which is pretty much what happens. He then goes to, where does he go? Oh yeah, he then goes to the owner's kind of like house kind of thing. I assume he lives there. There's like a bed and a pool table and everything there, so I assume he lives there. He goes to the owner nonetheless, and he's pretty much, the owner tries to fight him. It doesn't really work because the owner's not as good of a fighter as Hutch is, but Hutch pretty much just explains the whole situation. "Listen, Abel was working against you. I've got your son. We're gonna stop this Lendina woman." And he's like, "Okay." So then Hutch and Harry and the owner, Harry's like his brother from the old movie. So Hutch, Harry, and the owner come up with this genius plan where they've set up, it's like Home Alone, they've set a bunch of booby traps up in a water park. They've strapped some guns somewhere so they know where it is. They've put landmines in the ball pit and stuff like that. Another really cool one, which I'll just touch on really quickly. I'll touch on it in a second actually, because it will make more sense when I get to there. But so nonetheless, they set up all these booby traps, whatnot. Then Lendina, is that her name? So I'm looking at the cast here so I don't forget the names. Lendina gets there. She's brought a bunch of guys with guns with her, and Abel's there as well. And he's pretty much just saying, "You can either surrender now, walk towards her," as in Lendina, "with your hands behind your back." Pretty much just saying, like, sacrifice, just give up. Hutch doesn't, obviously, so he looks at the owner who's standing next to him, and they both just say, "No, we're not gonna do that," blah blah. So then, as Abel starts walking back to Lendina, she's like, "Fire!" and they all shoot Abel. So Sheriff's dead. Evil arsehole Abel Sheriff is gone. He's done. And then this is like the big final fight scene of the movie. There's like explosives going off, and Hutch walks around the corner with a Tommy gun, and he's shooting the Tommy gun at all the guys. And then the traps start going off. So, for example, the owner has run through the ball pit very carefully, followed by 3 guys who then step on one of the landmines. They blow up. Just some bunch of cool stuff like that. Hutch's dad, David, is also there, who also played Doc in Back to the Future, which I thought was good casting, but he's also there. He doesn't do a whole lot of fighting. He just kind of stands on this like tower, and when there's a bunch of people in the one spot, Hutch is like, "Dad, cover me," and then he just starts spraying this like machine gun, just taking everyone out. It's such a sick scene. And then I can't remember what happens if someone like throws a grenade up there or something, but either way, the building like kind of blows up a little bit, or I don't know if one bullet went into his gun and fucked it all up or something like that, but I think his gun blows up, and he's like, "Oh shit, I need to go check on my dad." As he tries to check on his dad, Lendina walks around the corner with 2 of her kind of main sidekicks kind of thing, and they start beating the hell out of Hutch, and just before they can kill Hutch, the owner, with this little crappy pistol that was stuck on the side of a slide, just shoots one of them, and then the other one's like, "Ah!" because her friend got killed. and then he kills her as well. Speaking about the slide, this is the part that I wanted to touch on. It's such a cool part. Hutch has been followed by a guy up the slide. He's like chased him up the slide, and Hutch goes down the slide, and then the guy follows him. And then when he gets near the bottom, Hutch jumps out the slide and presses a button, and it activates spikes, and the guy slides right into the spikes. I heard a gasp in the audience in the cinema somewhere. Someone went. So anyway, I wanted to touch on that because I thought that part was cool. So Landina then approaches Hutch, trying to kill her himself. This is after she threw a knife at the owner, so the owner's kind of out the game for now. She's about to kill Hutch, and then what was it? Oh, that's what it was, yeah. I thought it was her dad, but it's not. So Hutch's wife has appeared out of nowhere. She knew where he was going to be. It's just that connection they have. And she had a gun, and it shot out like darts. I assume they were sleep darts, so she hits Landina with one of them, and Landina's like, oh, who are you? I'm going to kill you. And then she like says on her little thing, kill this bitch or something like that. And then Becca, which is Hutch's wife, shoots again, hits her in the eye. And that takes out Landina. Landina's done after this. And then Hutch and Becca are like hugging each other. And then all these guys start rushing in with guns. And you think it's going to be the end. Like they're both just going to get killed then and there. Everyone's dead. It's over. Rest in peace, Hutch and Becca. However, the dad survived. So it can't have been a grenade because he wouldn't have survived. But he gets up. What does he have again? Oh, yeah, he set up dynamite. So he pretty much set up dynamite throughout the entire water park. And he just says something like, what is it? He says, fire in the hole, motherfucker, or something like that. And he pushes it and just explosion, explosion, explosion. And that's pretty much where the movie wraps up. It then just cuts to Hutch and Becca, at home with their dad and all that. I don't think the owner's dead at this point. I think he survived a knife to the shoulder. I don't think we really get to see, but I just assume he survived and he went home with his son, whatever. And they're just looking through a bunch of photos from the holiday, and it's like, oh, at least we made some memories at the end of it, blah, blah, blah. And that's the end of the movie. Such a good movie. One more thing I want to touch on before wrapping this video up is it's just a little detail that they did with the music that I noticed immediately, and it made such a huge difference. So, for example, they were doing a slow-mo walk. Don't remember what song was playing, but while they were walking, they were like walking in a water park, and there was a song playing, da-da-da-da-da-da, whatever. And then when the slow-mo stopped, the music didn't just get quieter, and it didn't just stop. It started playing off of this like really crappy radio in the background. So rather than just fading the music out or making it quieter or just cutting it completely, they kept it running, but it wasn't as loud, and it was coming out of a crappy like radio or speaker. I just thought it was a nice touch. Also, in the hot dog place where they went to buy the hot dogs, where they first met Abel, when they were kind of walking in there was a music playing, and then when they got in there, the music turned to the speaker in the place, so you could still hear it, but it sounded like it was coming out. It was more immersive, is pretty much what I'm trying to say. It was coming out of speakers and radios, and it sounded like how you would hear the music if you were at the water park or in the hot dog place. That was just a little thing I wanted to touch on. Definitely my new favourite movie ever, by the way. Out of any movie ever, this is the best movie I've seen, Nobody 2. 10 out of 10, perfect movie for me, my favourite movie. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because I said I would. I made a video not long ago talking about movies that were coming out. I mentioned Nobody 2, and there you go, I spoke about it. Great movie. I would highly recommend it. The first one isn't really linked to the second one, if anyone's wondering. But I would still watch the first Nobody before watching the second Nobody, just because it's the first one. But great movie. Highly recommend. Chef's kiss.